Long before European ships reached these shores, a vibrant tapestry of cultures thrived across the North American continent. For millennia, Native American tribes flourished, each with their unique traditions, languages, and stories woven into the fabric of their existence. From the eastern woodlands to the Great Plains, these diverse nations lived in harmony with nature, their lives intertwined with the ebb and flow of the seasons. In the southwest, the Pueblo people built impressive cliff dwellings, testaments to their architectural prowess and deep spiritual connection to the land. The nomadic tribes of the Great Plains, such as the Lakota and Cheyenne, followed the buffalo herds, their lives intricately linked to the migrations of these magnificent creatures. Along the northwest coast, tribes like the Tlingit and Haida carved towering totem poles, preserving their legends and lineage for generations to come. These first Americans were skilled hunters, farmers, and artisans, their lives governed by ancient customs and a deep respect for the natural world. They possessed a rich oral history, passing down knowledge, beliefs, and stories through generations. Their intricate social structures and governance systems reflected a deep understanding of community and the delicate balance of life. Though their stories often go untold in mainstream history, the legacy of these first Americans is an integral part of the American story. Their presence is etched into the very landscape, a reminder of the enduring spirit of the original inhabitants of this land. The arrival of Europeans in the late 15th century irrevocably altered the course of North America. Driven by a thirst for exploration, wealth, and new opportunities, these explorers stumbled upon a land already teeming with life and rich cultures. The encounter between these two worlds, while initially marked by curiosity, soon descended into a complex and often tragic saga of conquest and colonization. Christopher Columbus's voyages, though mistakenly landing him in the Caribbean, opened the floodgates to European exploration and exploitation of the Americas. Spanish conquistadors, driven by gold and glory, carved a path through South and Central America, leaving a trail of subjugation and disease in their wake. The English, French, and Dutch soon followed, establishing settlements along the Atlantic coast of North America. Jamestown, Virginia, founded in 1607, marked the first permanent English settlement, while the Pilgrims' arrival at Plymouth Rock in 1620 laid the foundation for a new society rooted in religious freedom. However, this period of exploration and colonization came at a devastating cost to the indigenous populations. European diseases such as smallpox, measles, and influenza ravaged native communities, decimating their numbers and weakening their ability to resist encroachment on their lands. Conflicts over resources and territory escalated, leading to bloody confrontations and the displacement of countless Native Americans. The arrival of Europeans marked a turning point in American history, setting the stage for the rise of a new nation built on the backs of enslaved Africans and the dispossession of native lands. This period of exploration and colonization laid the groundwork for the complex and often contradictory narrative that would shape the American identity for centuries to come. The 17th and 18th centuries witnessed the growth and evolution of 13 distinct colonies along the Atlantic seaboard. Each colony developed its unique character, shaped by geography, economic pursuits, and religious influences. Yet, beneath these regional differences, a shared sense of identity began to emerge, fueled by a growing spirit of self-governance and a burgeoning discontent with British rule. Life in colonial America was arduous, with settlers grappling with the challenges of a new land and a burgeoning society. Agriculture formed the backbone of the colonial economy, with tobacco emerging as a lucrative cash crop in the southern colonies. In the north, shipbuilding, fishing, and trade thrived, fostering bustling port cities like Boston and New York. As the colonies matured, so too did their political institutions. Colonial assemblies, elected by property-owning men, gained increasing influence, challenging the authority of royally appointed governors. Enlightenment ideals emphasizing individual liberty, self-government, and natural rights found fertile ground in the colonies, further fueling the growing desire for autonomy. The seeds of revolution were sown through a series of grievances with British policies. The Stamp Act of 1765, which imposed taxes on printed materials, ignited widespread protests and boycotts, uniting colonists from different backgrounds in opposition to what they perceived as unjust taxation without representation. The Boston Massacre of 1770, where British soldiers fired upon unarmed colonists, further inflamed tensions, galvanizing colonial resistance. As British control tightened, the desire for independence grew stronger, culminating in the fateful events of 1775 and the outbreak of the American Revolution. The shot heard round the world, fired at Lexington and Concord in April 1775, marked the beginning of a tumultuous struggle for independence. What began as a colonial rebellion transformed into a full-fledged war for freedom, pitting the fledgling Continental Army against the might of the British Empire. Led by George Washington, a Virginia planter thrust into the role of commander-in-chief, the Continental Army faced daunting odds. Outnumbered and outgunned, they relied on guerrilla tactics, unwavering determination, and crucial alliances with European powers to turn the tide of the war. The Battle of Saratoga in 1777 proved to be a pivotal turning point. The American victory convinced France to formally ally with the colonies, providing much-needed financial and military support. Spain and the Netherlands later joined the conflict, transforming the American Revolution into a global war. Throughout the long and arduous war, ordinary colonists displayed extraordinary courage and resilience. From the battlefields of Saratoga and Yorktown to the harsh winters at Valley Forge, their sacrifices paved the path to victory. In 1783, the Treaty of Paris officially recognized American independence, ending the war and marking the birth of a new nation. The American Revolution, a beacon of hope for oppressed people worldwide, inspired future generations to fight for liberty and self-determination. Section 5. A Nation Forged. The Early Republic and Westward Expansion. The newly formed United States faced the daunting task of building a government from scratch. The Articles of Confederation, adopted in 1777, proved too weak to effectively govern the fledgling nation. In 1787, delegates from the states convened in Philadelphia to address these shortcomings, ultimately drafting the United States Constitution, a remarkable document that has endured for over 2 centuries. The Constitution established a federal system of government, dividing power between the national government and the states. It created 3 branches of government: legislative, executive, and judicial, with a system of checks and balances to prevent any one branch from becoming too powerful. However, the issue of slavery cast a long shadow over the young republic. Although the words slave and slavery do not appear in the Constitution, the document enshrined the institution of slavery through compromises that allowed for its continuation. This contentious issue would continue to plague the nation, eventually leading to the Civil War. Despite internal divisions, the United States embarked on a period of westward expansion, driven by a belief in manifest destiny. The idea that America had a divine right to expand its territory from the Atlantic to the Pacific. The Louisiana Purchase in 1803 doubled the size of the nation, opening up vast territories for exploration and settlement. Westward expansion brought about opportunities and conflicts alike. The displacement of Native American tribes continued as settlers encroached upon their lands, leading to further violence and dispossession. The issue of slavery also expanded westward, fueling tensions between the North and South and setting the stage for the nation's greatest crisis. Section 6. A House Divided, the Civil War, and Reconstruction. By the mid-19th century, the issue of slavery had reached a boiling point. The southern states, economically and culturally reliant on enslaved labor, clashed with the growing abolitionist movement in the North. The election of Abraham Lincoln, a Republican opposed to the expansion of slavery, in 1860 proved to be the catalyst for secession and war. 11 southern states seceded from the Union, forming the Confederate States of America. In April 1861, Confederate forces fired upon Fort Sumter in South Carolina, marking the beginning of the bloodiest conflict in American history. The Civil War was a brutal and costly conflict, pitting brother against brother, father against son. Over 620,000 soldiers perished in battlefields across the nation, from the battlefields of Gettysburg and Antietam to the siege of Vicksburg. Throughout the war, President Lincoln emerged as a towering figure, guiding the nation through its darkest hour. His Emancipation Proclamation, issued in 1863, declared that all slaves in Confederate-held territory would be freed, transforming the war into a fight for freedom and equality. After 4 long years, the Confederacy surrendered in April 1865, ending slavery in America. the nation faced the daunting task of reunifying and rebuilding, a period known as Reconstruction. Reconstruction brought about significant social and political changes, including the ratification of the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments, which abolished slavery, granted citizenship to all persons born or naturalized in the United States, and guaranteed voting rights regardless of race, color, or previous condition of servitude. However, Reconstruction also faced significant challenges, including persistent racial prejudice and violence, economic disparities, and political resistance in the South. The legacy of slavery and its enduring impact on American society would continue to reverberate for generations to come. Section 7. Industry's Rise, the Gilded Age and the Dawn of Modern America. The late 19th century witnessed a period of rapid industrialization and urbanization, transforming the United States into a global economic power. The Gilded Age, as it came to be known, was an era of both immense progress and stark inequality. Technological innovations, such as the telephone, the light bulb, and the automobile, revolutionized communication, transportation, and daily life. Railroads connected the nation like never before, facilitating the growth of industries and the rise of sprawling cities. Immigrants from all over the world flocked to America, seeking economic opportunity and a better life. However, this period also witnessed the growth of industrial slums, labor unrest, and vast disparities in wealth between the burgeoning capitalist class and the working poor. The Gilded Age also saw the rise of powerful industrialists and financiers such as Andrew Carnegie, John D. Rockefeller, and J.P. Morgan. These captains of industry amassed vast fortunes, but their business practices often stifled competition and exploited workers. In response to these injustices, labor unions emerged, fighting for better wages, safer working conditions, and an end to child labor. The struggle for workers' rights would continue throughout the 20th century, leading to significant reforms and shaping the American labor movement. Section 8. Global Power, World Wars, Depression, and the Cold War. The 20th century brought about unprecedented challenges and triumphs for the United States. The nation emerged as a global power, playing a pivotal role in 2 world wars and facing the threat of communism during the Cold War. World War I, which erupted in Europe in 1914, initially saw the United States remain neutral. However, the sinking of the Lusitania, a British passenger liner carrying American citizens, and Germany's unrestricted submarine warfare policy drew the nation into the conflict in 1917. Following World War I, the United States experienced a period of economic prosperity and cultural dynamism known as the Roaring Twenties. However, the stock market crash of 1929 plunged the nation into the Great Depression, the worst economic crisis in American history. President Franklin Delano Roosevelt's New Deal programs aimed to address the Depression through government intervention in the economy. These programs provided relief, recovery, and reform, helping to alleviate the suffering of millions of Americans. World War II, which began in 1939, once again drew the United States into the global conflict. The Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor in 1941 galvanized American resolve, and the nation joined forces with the Allies to defeat the Axis powers. Following World War II, the United States emerged as a superpower, facing off against the Soviet Union in the Cold War. This ideological struggle between capitalism and communism shaped global politics for decades, leading to proxy wars, nuclear arms races, and the ever-present threat of nuclear annihilation. Section 9. The Modern Era, from the Space Race to the Digital Age. The latter half of the 20th century and the beginning of the 21st century witnessed remarkable technological advancements and societal shifts that continue to shape the American experience. The Cold War fueled a space race between the United States and the Soviet Union, culminating in the American astronaut Neil Armstrong becoming the first human to walk on the moon in 1969. This achievement marked a pivotal moment in human history, inspiring generations to dream of reaching for the stars. The civil rights movement, which gained momentum in the 1950s and 1960s, challenged racial segregation and discrimination. Led by iconic figures such as Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X, and Rosa Parks, the movement brought about significant legal and social progress, though the struggle for racial equality continues. The latter part of the 20th century also witnessed the rise of the digital age, with the personal computer, the internet, and mobile devices transforming communication, information access, and daily life. The information revolution has connected people across the globe like never before, fostering new forms of communication, collaboration, and cultural exchange. As the United States navigates the complexities of the 21st century, it faces ongoing challenges including economic inequality, political polarization, climate change, and social justice issues. The American story is a tapestry woven with threads of triumph and tragedy, progress and struggle. It is a story that continues to unfold, shaped by the actions and aspirations of each generation.